That's all right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to a lovely day. We were trying to entertain you a little bit this morning with some music. Um, Thanks for joining. We got a great group here. You all are a special bunch. You've been invited to join us on our an early release beta for our Web Editor 2.0, and thank you for joining us today for this webinar. I'm Chris Hugman. I'm CEO, co-founder of System Surveyor, and we are really, really excited about what we're going to show you today. We're going to kind of move right through it, and we really want to get it in your hands and you playing with it so you can give us a bit of feedback. And so today it's going to be myself and Eman, our project manager, Eman Taylor, and we're going to be stepping through kind of what you can expect and how to get you started if you haven't already. So, okay. Eman, you got another slide here?
Yes, sir.
Great. Well, so if you are a System Surveyor user today, otherwise you wouldn't be on this call. And so you're aware of our mobile, our platform overview, where you have you have a tablet app that you can use online or offline, and then you can sync that up to the cloud. And so that's always been our architecture. We started over 7 years ago. We launched System Surveyor, and with a very basic concept, and introduced an entirely new idea to the security industry, and then since have grown that. And we built onto that platform, that original platform. We've just built on and enhanced some features and done some things. But the bottom line is it could only take us so far. And so we started to see we were hitting the ceiling in terms of what we could do with that technology. And it was taking a lot of time. So a couple of years ago, we made a core business decision to invest a lot of money and time and effort and energy into rebuilding our platform, both on the mobile side, which we have our mobile 2.0 app, as well as now the cloud infrastructure or the web editor. And so it's that interface that you use to drag and drop your elements onto the floor plan, to add the photos, to do the markups, all those things is will be an entirely new experience. We're following the design of the mobile app, but we're going to be able to deliver a lot more functionality on the web interface that you'll see. So you're familiar with the architecture that we have, using the web browser to do things, and then also the tablet. And so we are very excited. We're just about to launch this. We have a handful of folks that are kicking it around, and now we want you to experience it. We want to hear your feedback on it. Very, very important as we move toward a full rollout. And in the months to come, we're going to deprecate the classic so that then we can go even further. Today, what's very important is that we have full backward compatibility, forward compatibility. So whether you're using classic, what we're calling the classic editor, or the new web editor 2.0, what you do on one place is going to appear on the other, and vice versa. So that's been a very, very important aspect to this transition. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Eman, again, our product manager. He's been the guy on the front line making it all happen with our engineering team. And so I'll let him step through some of the highlights and then show you what it looks like.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction, Chris, and excited everybody can join today. As Chris mentioned, we have been incorporating feedback from you all over the past year or so, taking our learnings from talking to customers and just listening to your feedback. And here's some of the highlights that we are adding in Web Editor 2.0. And can you guys hear me okay, Chris?
Gotcha.
Okay, great. I took my headset off. So the first thing we did, we optimized the floor plan resolution when you're importing floor plans into System Surveyor. Some of our people that we've added to already said the resolution is 10 times better. So we're excited to get some feedback on that. We've also added element search. So one of the things we often have heard is finding the elements on the left-hand side of the screen as you're dragging and dropping elements. We wanted to find a way to make that faster. So we support search now. One of the things I'm most excited about is our new reports. I think from what we hear most is we want to deliver solid scope of work, and have a good presentation to either present to their customers, to their internal team, to their install teams. But we are working through all our reports, and I'll share what we have today. Really excited to share that. And then, as Chris mentioned, a consistent UI with System Surveyor 2.0, the tablet application, as well as new drawing tools. So we know marking up floor plans is really important to you guys, um, as you're making edits, annotating the floor plan, showing where specific things are. We know how crucial that is. So, but at a high level, that's what we have, and I'll jump right into the product. Give me 1 second. The music threw me off. Okay. All right. So this is the screen you all are used to, and I'm on the web platform today, so I'm using my web browser. And I'm gonna go right into this third floor here. And right now I have the Web Editor 2.0 toggled on, and I'm actually going to toggle it off really quickly just to show you all how to actually enable this. And if you all should have access to be able to do exactly what I'm doing now. So we offer you guys to turn it on and let us know what you guys think. So I'll switch back to Classic. And so right here at the top of your screen, there's an option that says try Web Editor 2.0. And like Chris said, this is backwards compatible. So as you're switching back and forth, or if you want to try it out, you can easily click here. And this survey is not liking me today. Let's try this one. There we go. And then if we try Web Editor 2.0, I'll give you a highlight of some of the new features. And then from there, you'll go directly into Web Editor 2.0. And I'll walk through some of the things I'm most excited about, but happy to hear you all's feedback. The first thing we added that I mentioned earlier is on the left-hand side of the screen, we have this element palette here. We have drawing tools, element info, which is the attributes or the details related to a device or an element, and then survey info, where you add the information as it relates to that survey. But if we go to add element, we have this element palette here. You can search. So if I want to search just for fixed cameras, I can immediately see that, say ELOC electric. I can immediately see what's there, but we'll just add a camera. So I can drag and drop a camera here, clear that search. And then one of the interactions we added is I can adjust the cameras or any device with an area of coverage, and I can adjust the area coverage at the same time. So it's a little bit smoother of an interaction for those that are using Classic. You know, kind of have to open and close a menu. But with this, I can move elements and adjust the area coverage all at the same time. So just cleaning that up a little bit. And to adjust the area coverage details, we have the color here. We added some presets for the degrees or field of view. So I can change this to 180 to 360, and I can type in the distance as well. And then on the another interaction, just to walk through this, is the element info. So if I click on this camera here, I can see the um, photos and attributes related to that device. And then I can click through all the devices and see all the information to the left hand side of my screen here. So one thing we've heard is um, I want to be able to see the information about the device and move through my device at the same time. So you can see I'm just paneling through my devices here, and this is updating on the left-hand side of the screen. So same underlying information, just a little bit different way to do things. And then the next piece I'll touch on is on the left-hand side is drawing tools. If you guys are using Web Editor 2.0, you may be familiar with the freeform arrows, text tools, circles, lines, and arrows. And like right now, the freeform doesn't actually display on the web. So anything you do on the Web Editor 2.0 will now show on this screen. But we've added freeform. So you want to mark something up. I can draw here and draw whatever shape I like. And we're slowly rolling out improvements to the drawing tools. So you can see right now the line and the arrow and the text are disabled right now, but we are rolling out the rest of that within the next week or so. And another thing, this floor plan is already drawn here, but one thing we hear is the ability to draw a floor plan. So that will be a little bit easier just because these tools are easier to manipulate, easier to drag and drop. You can do this pretty easily. And then another thing, this is small but big impact, is the ability to add like fill. So say I am blocking out a room. I'll do a square here. I can change the opacity and the fill of this shape. From what I've heard from some of our customers are things like security zones, or you just want to block out a certain room. You all would know the use cases, I'm sure. Feel free to put in the chat what your use case may be, but yeah, just adding that fill to those shapes. And yeah, we're really excited about the drawing tools, just making this a little bit easier to mark these up. And the same drawing tools that are on the canvas itself will be applied to the photos in your element info. So these are just sample images, but any image you have of a survey, interior, exterior location, those same drawing tools can be applied to those photos. And I don't want to get too click happy, but the next thing I wanted to show are the reports. So if you click the three dots on the right-hand corner here, there's an option to go to reports. And I'll go ahead and save those changes. And then I'll be navigated to this new reports page. And the first type of report we have is an element report. Move and zoom out of the way. And one thing we've often heard is the ability to customize reports and really see pick and choose which attributes and device details to report on. So we added over here the ability to manage the columns of this table. So if I wanted to see in this report installation date, installation details, a wide variety of fields, I can add them to the report, and then I can select the order that actually appear in the table here. So let's see, I want manufacturer and model next to each other. And then I'll do okay. And then, yeah, I have my table there. And unfortunately, this survey, I was updating all the data here, but I would have manufacturer, model, all those fields populated. And then I can sort these based on these sorts at the top. So if I want all my to be upgraded at the top, I can just change the sort and it sorts out differently there. So really excited about the elements report, the bill of materials report, excuse me. We know Azure, what we've heard is using System Surveyor, you're hoping to put together a bill of materials, right? As you're gathering site information and you're putting together parts and pieces. This will just allow you to expedite that process a little bit more. So this pulls all the data from the survey, creates a table based on manufacturer and model, and then gives you a bill of materials here. And sometimes sometimes you may have the price populated, sometimes you may not, but if you just want a raw list of materials, this should help you out. And then we're still working through the rest of these, but yeah, we're incorporating as much feedback as we can. The layout report, cables, and photo tour. Those are in the works, and you'll all be seeing those soon. But yeah.
So,
Yeah.
E-Man,
Go
could
ahead.
you couple things here? Of course, you can sort by the column. I think you showed that, which is great. You can also, there's the filter option. So we
Yeah.
want you to explore and find little things here that either you like or you don't like. Maybe that could be changed or tweaked. You can do multiple surveys, even though you were seeing one survey. You can choose other surveys to include in this report from the same site.
Thank
So
you, Chris. Yeah, I've been looking at these screens for
yeah,
the past few
and then
months. So.
yeah, so good. Yeah, so you can include multiple surveys and it would group and sort same way. So give that a try, test that out. And then of course the export button on the top right is useful. Well, and the accessories. We've added the ability to show accessories within the report. And so that's going to be great. There's a lot, we've put a lot of effort into developing this report engine within System Surveyor. And so there's been a lot of kind of foundational things done. But yeah, go ahead, E-Man. What's showing here?
I'm showing the filter that skipped right over this. So thank you for reminding me and highlighting it. Yeah, so on these filters, I can filter this table by element name. Let's see, I just want readers, door position switches, and then on top of that, I can just continue to filter this down even more. So if I want to just show my Dormacaba and Asa Abloy cameras or card readers, those will be pulled in or just filtered out that way. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that, the filters and selecting multiple surveys. So you said that, wanted to show it in real time.
Perfect. The last thing that we're getting, I think the most feedback is the floor plan resolution.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's show that because that is really important. Not
So the start new survey flow you'll still click start new survey, but this will take us to a new kind of walkthrough. So we have quick start, which is a blank image, satellite image, which is using Google Maps, and then we have local files. And I'm just going to pause sharing really quickly while I select a file.
yeah, I mean even existing survey will show the resolution. But so thank you for the questions that are coming through. Appreciate that. We're going to open up the mics so that we can have more of an interactive discussion with everyone. So you can hear and see all that, and we'll address these questions as we get to that place. But keep them coming.
Nice. My microphone cut out for a second, but yeah, this is the floor plan that I selected. So I can set the scale. This is the new scale tool we added as well. And I'll adjust this to, actually, let's choose a door like we always do. This is 6 feet. And give me a second while this loads, but yeah, one of our big big improvements with this is the floor plan resolution. So a lot of you all that work with some of those really beefy floor plans or floor plans that have a lot of details like this one, we really worked hard to make sure that we kept that resolution. So you can see if I zoom in here, it doesn't blow out, it doesn't blur. So just a crisper, cleaner resolution.
Yeah, that's a big deal. A big part of what was causing made us want to do this. So um
So awesome. I'll
that's
stop
great.
sharing, see the questions and everything, but
Yeah,
I'll open.
maybe go ahead and keep it up, man. Mindy, if you could open up the audio mics, I'll step
Yeah.
through these questions that we've seen come through for like Steve asked, is there any plan to allow the walls to affect displayed coverage area? Absolutely, absolutely there is. And that's another big driver behind this. So we're calling it boundaries so that when you apply, maybe if you could pull up an existing survey so we have some data to work with or drop in. But as you apply, what will allow you to do is apply annotations or those drawing tools and use that to clip or shave off the boundaries. We'll set the wall as a boundary. So even if you move the element, it will the wall will stay fixed and that will adjust on the area of coverage. So that is absolutely coming on its way. Big, lots of interest in that. So that's answer there. Andrew asked that his question was answered, so I'm glad to hear that. Come up with more of them. And let's see. There's a question about installers, about is there a print report that doesn't appear to print out notes on the elements? And so we are working on that as one of our reports. We'll call it the installation or installer report, and it will include kind of all the details of each element. I'm not sure if that's what you're exactly asking for, but on that one, James, but that is a report, and it's intended for your installation team when they go out there. There's also a note that they notice a 10 survey limit on the reports right now. It will remain as a 10 survey for that interface. If you need more than 10 surveys, we're going to navigate you out to our current enhanced reports because those reports are run in the background. Whereas, as you could probably tell, the reports that we're presenting to you now are running on screen in your interface. And so once you get to about 10 surveys, it's a little bit too much of a load. It's going to be too much of a weight. So we'll run that in the background and be able to render the report. It's just going to be a little bit different interface if you need that. And then the icons adjustment levels now scale according to zoom level. And that's something that probably eMan is in a better, in terms of scaling the icons and that sort of thing. And all of this, we want you to test out. Don't just take our word for it. So,
I think James, you can go ahead and talk. I give you the ability to talk if you want to clarify your question. Well, oh, I think his microphone is off.
Yeah, if you guys can unmute, feel free to weigh in. Eman, do you have a thought about scaling the element size?
Let us know exactly what you're referring to, but we
Jason,
don't the elements you can still change the element icon size. To change the icon size, you can change it here. So we did a better job of supporting smaller sizes. But yeah, if there's a specific question, let us know.
Jason, if you want to unmute, you can
Yeah.
go and talk too.
For sure. So I was more referring to the adjustment handles on the icons. For example, when you go to add a do new survey and do the scaling adjustment,
Yeah,
it already
yeah.
looks way better than it did. But when you were on a very large floor plan, the icons would be so giant that they're hardly manageable. So I was wondering if that has been fixed.
That should be addressed on those larger surveys. Let us know. So we did a lot of work with the scaling, the element icon size, and this set scale tool. And if we're still missing the mark, let us know. We try to test with as much real world data as possible, but you guys have the true.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I do appreciate. I'm looking at the cable runs right now. So whenever we end up doing a large amount of data drops or a large amount of cameras that we're also doing cabling for, cabling can get fairly unmanageable. But I do see that it doesn't feel like in the new beta version here that we're drawing with crayons anymore. So I do appreciate that the actual like buttons that you are able to move makes it a lot easier. I just have a suggestion to work through because it's hard to explain in a question, I guess, is when you have a common hallway, like you do a cable tray, it would be awesome if you could just say, hey, here's my cable tray. And then whenever you add a cable to the cable tray, it then puts like an end cable end to go to a different way. The reason that I'm asking for that is that I'll have 100 cable runs going down a hallway, but I have to have actually 100 different cables that are going down that hallway to then represent where they're going to and coming from. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
That
sir.
could be,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
Andrew, that's a great comment. And yes, if you're familiar with how we use containers, where we drop multiple elements in the containers, we want to use a similar type of grouping. Like if you overlay cables together, maybe there's a grouping that groups them.
Mhm.
That's now that we're kind of in this new platform, we've reestablished what, kind of refactored everything. That's not something that I'll just tell you, that's not something that's near term, but it's absolutely something that is in our head in terms of what we need to do, especially to help out with all the cabling, because that's a critical portion of any system that you're doing. Obviously, unless it's wired, but yeah, that's a good. Would that be helpful if we just grouped common segments together, or do you want to still see the cable tray?
Um, for me, the common segments would be fine. I mean, when you do put in cable tray, there is different things that are put into place. So
Yeah.
that could open another a ball of wax. But as far as being able to group common places where you just say, hey, here is a common cable run, and then you just add that flex cable path to it. If it just spits out it, so it adds it to that number of how many are going down that pathway, but then
Yep.
just spits out an end so that you can put that where it goes. That would be really nice because it does get really messy as far as how thick that line gets, and then managing trying to figure out how to shift those after the fact is really difficult. But I think that complaint has already been fixed with how the sizing of the edit points has changed already. So
Great. Great. Well, that's a great comment. And actually, I like your idea about using cable trays. So for everyone on the call, I would like to encourage you, if you're not already, I think some of you may have already been logged in and have clicked the try our new button and all that. So please do that while we're on the call. Ask questions. If you're having trouble with it, let us know. But email, would you click the feedback button just to make sure everybody's clear? So this is really what we're about. This is really what we're after. And what would be great is if you guys, we keep our engineers locked up in a back room in a dark cave kind of thing. And they would love to know that you appreciate the work that they've done if you feel good about it. So even give them a shout out if you feel like this is a notable improvement. We would appreciate that. So I'm sorry, someone else had a question?
I was just going to say, we do have probably 3 or so questions that we didn't get to. I know we're right at time. Do we want to answer those, or we can email them or call them directly? Or do you want to kind of go through Sonia, if you want to answer, if you want to ask yours, you can take yourself off
Yeah.
mute.
Okay.
Sure. So if we have a camera named camera 1 for ease of purpose, in that search, are you able to type in camera 1 on the overall system? And then
Yeah.
it'll go to, this is the survey you want to look at, and the camera lights up, or so you can see it easily.
Great question. So there is a search here. It is on this particular survey. This is motion. So I'll answer that question in two parts. Yes, we can search here. So if I search just motion, it will just pull up my motion detectors here. And this searches on the element name, the element ID, the room location, IP address, and we have a help article on this, exactly what fields they search. It's about 6 fields. But in general, yeah, if I search door, right, it will pull up the doors on the survey. And then second part of that, you said about camera 1. One of the things we've added is if this camera is camera 0012, right? I'm gonna change it for in this example to camera 202. Act like I already have 200 cameras on this survey. And then when I add the next camera, previously it would reset. And one of the things that we've heard is you want to continue your numbering scheme, right? So this new camera automatically gets changed to 203. And where this can be additionally beneficial is if I am starting, this is actually the 3rd floor, so let's change this to 303. Say I'm working on the 4th floor, right? My 4th floor survey, I can immediately, when I drag my first camera, follow me along here, hopefully you're following, I can change that camera to 400, right? I'm on the 4th floor now. And then when I add the next camera, it would be 401. So just a way to help with numbering scheme across in a survey and intra survey.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I think if you like on the search, if you just did a search and did 001, you would come up with whatever elements have the 001 designation. So yeah. We've spent a big part of this is the interactions. We think they're more fluid. When you saw Eman drawing on the drawing tool, sometimes he would click and drag the floor plan, whatever. That's a refinement that we need to make. And so we have that feedback and we're working on how do we refine that to make it a little more intuitive. That's exactly the kind of things that we need you to tell us about. Hey, I'm having trouble because when I try to do this, something else happens or something like that. Because then we can help tighten it up or tweak it or something like that. Something's not large enough, something's too small. Those types of things are really helpful for us and hopefully make it a lot more usable for you. So yeah, and as far as the time goes, I know we're a little bit over. I'm willing to stay on. I'm free. I can stay on for a bit, but I don't want to keep everyone here. Please.
Chris, this is Maureen. Can I ask one thing? Eman, can you click that provide beta feedback? I'm sorry if you've already done it, but a couple people have asked. There's a direct way for you to provide some feedback. This is what Chris was saying, goes directly to the product team and engineers, and we all get to see it. So that's a great place. Of course, you can do it other ways, but that's a good spot.
Yeah, that's
Thanks.
the way to do it. And keep in mind, what I would say, keep in mind this is a beta test, so it is backward compatible. If you're doing some critical customer time sensitive things, we still think you should be using the classic. We've not seen anyone experience any data loss or anything like that, but there's quirkies and we're still working on it. And we're providing routine updates in the background, on a weekly basis. So probably a good idea just to go ahead and use classic for now. And then in several weeks, we're going to roll it out and say, okay, we're ready to go, good to go. Certainly, if you run into any data integrity issues or you feel like you may have lost some data or something, we need to know that immediately. We want to jump on that as soon as we can. If you even suspect that there may be some data loss, so important. So great. Eman, any final thoughts?
No final thoughts. I'm willing to stick around as well. But
Okay.
yeah, for those that attended, we appreciate you taking the time and look forward to your feedback. And anybody that isn't turned on, I think I saw one or two people. We'll get you turned on right after this call and circle back with our engineering
Yep.
team.
We've done that actually. We've did that
Nice.
while we we're on the call, so I think everyone is
Nice.
good. Jason, if you're still available, if you want to go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, just my question was, is there a way to select multiple elements at one time to apply multiple attributes to them?
What was the second part of that question?
To edit multiple attributes. So if you wanted to change, like camera, you wanted to change the model number. So
I thought that was it. So there is a way to edit multiple attributes at a time across multiple elements. So if you click the three dot menu in the top right hand corner, there is an option that says export data to Excel. Once I click that, it will export, and I already have one available. It will then export that to Excel. And I lost Zoom, but let me share my screen. Yeah, so then it'll export to Excel, and you can update the installation status, the descriptive label, the ID, a variety of fields. So I won't walk through all of them, but I'll just scroll so you can see them. Manufacturing model are the most common. We even have IP address. So if you're going through and adding IP address to multiple things at a time, the part I've heard the most feedback on is probably the ID. So if you're going through and updating the ID or the descriptive label, you can update them in Excel. And then if you go back to System Surveyor, save that file, of course, and then you press import data to survey. You select that file, import it, and then it'll update all those attributes in the background.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's an easy way to do bulk edits. And eventually we'll get to a place where we can do multiple, you can select multiple icons to do, edit common fields. That's out a little bit further on the roadmap. So.
And then we had
There was another question about creating your own elements. Today, you have various miscellaneous elements. Most of the elements have a lot of customizable fields on them, but we're not, we haven't developed and delivered a way to create your own elements specifically.
I think we also have Brandon. If you want to unmute, you had a detailed question as well that maybe is easier to understand if you speak to it versus type it out.
Yeah, Brandon. Let's see.
I don't know. He's still muted.
I could probably read that one out a little bit. It's not specific to Web Editor 2.0. It asks a really good question, though. Chris, do you want to go over that one?
Yeah, well, and I know I was on the phone with the engineers yesterday. We were talking about this exact thing. So the ability to save element profiles for sub elements is the question. And so how do we do that and maintain, so if you have a particular configuration for a door as an example, that you can maintain that as part of the profile, that there are specific components. So Eman, I'll let you chime in there. You have more knowledge on that.
Yeah, great feedback. And we're in this implementation, you can't, but we're working towards that. So what you can do is if I add a door here, I can add the sub elements, and the sub elements will be part of the package, but the profiles associated with the sub elements will not be. So if you had a specific reader with this set, not just yet, but we totally get what you're saying. You want to create a full package and not just have the kind of the generic one. So we are working on that.
Yep. Super. Let's see.
Steve, I think
I
you
have
had another
a quick question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't know how quick it is, but so here we are do a lot of wireless link stuff, and sometimes on the same location, same pole, we will have what's it called, a backhaul, so that the information or the data getting to that pole, and then there's a distribution of an access point as well. And so sometimes you have multiple backhauls on there, so you end up with a wireless AP. And it has an area of coverage, just like cameras do, but it's really hard to represent in one spot. So I just didn't know if you had any thoughts on that or potential ways to fix that congestion in one little spot.
So it's just so I'm understanding. So you have multiple what we call elements. So you have an AP, maybe you have some other components that they all have their area of coverage.
Right.
And maybe, it might be, well, I'm not sure that I have a good, maybe, E-Man, if you've seen something or anyone else. Probably if we could see an example, maybe schedule some time and you could show us that, then, maybe our support folks could give you some thoughts about some tips to help with that.
Yeah, and the same thing happens once in a while with cameras. Most of the time, you can get a combined unit camera where you have multiple lenses in it. That's fine. But sometimes with the deployment, you need a couple different things right in the exact same spot. So it gets harder to click on that element, and you have to space them out, and it makes it a little bit harder to represent what's actually happening. But I can do a follow-up call.
Yeah, I think with this new interface, it's more discriminating in terms of those clicks. So if they're positioned close together, I think you'll be easier to select the particular element. So I'd be interested in your thoughts about if that's helpful.
Okay, yeah, I'll certainly take a look at that.
What about having like a rollover, like they do in photos, where you roll over a spot and it zooms in on that area?
Huh.
When you say a rollover, explain that. I don't quite understand that one.
When you hover with your mouse over a certain area, a lot of these
Yep.
websites will show up a zoomed in image of a picture.
Got it.
Something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good thought. That's some good feedback. Kind of like your Amazon shopping experience when you want to zoom in on your new television or something.
Exactly.
Yep.
Put that one in the feedback, Jason.
Yeah, we got to credit you with that feedback.
All right.
Well, I'm going to hop off, guys, but thank you
Yeah.
so much for the work on this. That I was really happy to see the 2.0 version on the tablet, and I've actually completely gone just to working with my tablet. But when it comes to virtual meetings with clients, it makes it a little bit harder to show what we're doing and then make those edits. So I really do appreciate the work that you guys have done, and this makes a huge difference on the website. So thank you.
Great. Andrew, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks,
Yep.
Andrew.
Have a good one, guys.
You too. All right. Let's see. Any other
We've
questions?
got it.
Can we scale using a door? Albert's asking, can we scale using a door? Well, you can, the scale tool you can apply to anything on the floor plan. A parking space may be 12 feet. A door is typically 3 feet. like in this particular survey, these desks may be known to be 6 feet. Obviously, the larger the span, the more accurate the scale. If you can scale it, across a longer distance, I think you're going to get a more accurate scale. But yeah, and you can, as you're seeing here, you can zoom in to the door to put it across the door. So I don't know if that answers your question, Albert.
Albert, you do have the
Can you all
ability to
hear me?
talk. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Gotcha.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
This is Greg.
Yep.
Sorry about that. No, I was just asking because sometimes I get these drawings and I like rule up to scale, and sometimes they're real huge. And I was wondering, I just mark the door at 3 feet and just trying to go for that, like just a bit, just to get some kind of measurement. That's all it was. Like if that's 3 feet, can I enter 3 feet and
Yep.
just scale the whole drawings?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can use the plus or minus, that sort of thing too. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Probably
answered
the
my
most
question.
common way, Albert, that people do it. So glad you asked that one. That's smart.
Yep. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, hi. This is Brandon. Sorry, I was having some audio issues earlier, but appreciate you addressing that question I had. One other thing that I had some brief communication with Iman about a couple months ago was I think we were calling it like a photo tour, but basically being able to export all the photos that are taken in like a zip file or something like that. I think he said that was on the roadmap. I just wanted to kind of just mention that again, and that would be very helpful. Obviously, we take a ton of photos when we're doing the install or when we're doing the survey, but then also after the install to keep everything documented. So extracting photos as it is right now, I know you can have that option enabled to save your photos to your photo roll as well while you're taking the photos. But again, when we're working in the web interface, it would be really great to be able to extract all those photos in one zip file and upload it into whatever other documentation wherever we're saving that.
Okay. Yeah, Brent, if you would please enter that as feedback. It is I think that's a great idea. No, we don't currently have a utility to export photos. And so yeah, that would be, I think I can see where that could be useful.
We will have the photo tour, but yeah, that will still export them as a document, but I think you want them individually in a zip file. That's a good idea.
Right. Yeah, because the photo tour is great for like a kind of an overview of the install or the survey. But there's only so many photos and the size of the photos that you can fit on a page that's going to be printed out. So for more like detailed export, photo exports, I think that's what would be useful to save like the full size image.
Yeah, and it might be that we could export the image, but maybe not, for example, the markups on the image if you applied some markups. But I'd just have to talk to our technical team about that.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah,
I was just going to throw in there if I could for Brandon. The workflow I use right now is when I get back to my desk with the iPad, I'll plug it in, take all of those photos that I have captured and dump them into a folder. It's not the most elegant. It's not obviously built into the software, but it's a way to have all the originals.
Right. So Steve, you're saving the photos to your photo roll on your device, and then you're uploading from there.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, that's another way. Little bit of effort there, but it works. So, trying to get around that. So, okay. Okay. Well, if there's no more questions, then did I mention that we want your feedback? Did I say that already? So Guys, thanks again for spending some time with us and being part of this group. We will in the next several weeks, the plan is to get it out there, and this will be the primary interface. But for right now, we need to know, are there any gotchas? So thanks again for your time. Good luck to you in your business. We really want to help you be successful. And a big part of that is you letting us know what we can do. So, E-Man, thanks for stepping us through it. Mindy, thanks for hosting it. And Maureen and Laura, thanks for joining in.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Appreciate
y'all.
it.
Great job. Thanks, community. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
You guys have a great week. Bye.
Hey, Chris.
Yes, sir.
I don't see any icon just to indicate the new 2.0 version on my
Okay.
login.
We will double check to make sure you've got that, Jason.
Thank you.
Yeah, that I think maybe we're trying to be a little too sophisticated. We wanted to activate it as soon as we got this webinar going. So maybe try to log out, log back in. That may be a refresh. But yeah,
I did that already.
you did that. Okay. Well, we will double check.
We will get back with you. Let me just check real quick and then I'll send you an email.
Awesome. Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for the mention.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Jason.
All right. Bye.